Welcome to Rebel Chaser. My name is Gail, and I have a clip for you from Judge Falkenberg in Texas. And this is a little bit different. The Department of Family Services wanted to check on the welfare of children living on this property. And the entire property is fenced. So they could not get in. They had to be allowed in. Well, the people said, "Where's your warrant?" Which I 100% agree with. I don't think you should allow any officials onto your property without a warrant. That's just my opinion. But they said, "Where's your warrant?" So this is the next step in the process. And the judge is really good about explaining everything. So I'm just going to let him explain it, and I'll let you guys watch.
Did Mr. or Mrs. Sheeds receive notice of this?
No, sir. As of 5 o'clock last night, the constable was still attempting notice. They live in a compound and apparently do not open the gate. We have not received the notice of unserved citation filed yet.
All right. Well, let me call it and get a little testimony from Mr. Modella. Court
Yes,
cause number CVPC-24-00000159, Department of Family Protective Services versus Robert Sheeds and Patricia Sheeds in the 198 Judicial District Court of Bandera County, Texas. The court is streaming via Zoom and YouTube outside of Bandera County from Kendall County. Are there any objections?
No objections.
And Mr. Bodell, could you please announce, as well as you, Ms. Fields?
Nathan Barella, DFPS representative for this case.
Missy Fields, I'm the supervisor.
Okay. So I did read the affidavit in this case when it came in, requesting an order for investigation. The law requires us now to either have a probable cause or good cause.
Yes, sir.
And I kind of wanted to err on the side of caution with this one and make sure before I ordered anything that we at least attempted to have a hearing with notice to the parents. I understand it's going to be difficult to get them served because of this compound. So, Mr. Morella, do you believe that these children are in imminent danger? Do you believe that what I need to get over is this probable cause hump? We don't have notice to the parents yet, and we're not supposed to have an ex parte hearing unless we have probable cause, which obviously, as the attorneys know, probable cause can be a thousand different things. But in this particular case, what it essentially boils down to is for me to make the decision to make this order ex parte because everything together rises to the level where we can essentially skip that step because of the seriousness of the situation. So tell me, kind of just sum up for me what you think is going on right now that requires me to order this investigation.
Yes, Your Honor, I appreciate the question. So definitely the concerns of possible manufacturing on the property, along with the concern that there's no access to running water, which would not allow the children or anybody in the family to properly use the bathroom or have any access to the bathroom for 7 people.
Your Honor, I see a Patricia.
I just let her in while Mr. Barella was testifying. So did I swear you, Mr. Barella?
No.
All right. Would you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you swear from testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, Your Honor, may I ask if Patricia is Patricia Sheeds? And if so, if Robert Sheeds is with her?
It's more than likely her. The only issue is there's no audio. And that's I'm getting the 3 little dots that tells me that the audio issue is on her end. And there's no way for me to communicate to her that they have an issue unless they were to happen to look in the chat.
Your Honor, would the court be offended if I try to chat with her and see if that's who she is?
Not at all. Go right ahead. While she's doing that, Mr. Barella, your testimony is that you believe there's potential manufacture on the property and then there's no access to running water. How old are the children?
We have a variety of ages, Your Honor, 3, 4, 5, 10, and 12.
Okay. All right. Now mother has audio. Okay. Miss Sheets, could you please unmute?
Hello,
All right. Could you state your full name for me, please?
Patricia Ann Sheets.
Do you have the ability to turn on your video?
I'm working on that. I'm also trying to get Mr. Sheets on. We just downloaded the app on his phone.
Okay. Would you raise your right hand for me, please?
Yes, sir.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Sheets joins you. I need you to let me know, okay?
Yes, sir.
I want to make sure you understand what we're here for today. The Department of Family and Protective Services, specifically CPS, feels that it's necessary to perform an investigation into the health and welfare of the children on your property. He has not been able to do so based on some form of interference or inability of not ability to cooperate with him. So, pursuant to the Texas Family Code, Chapter 261, the department has asked this court to hold a hearing to determine whether or not good cause exists for the court to order that they be allowed to enter the property and perform an investigation. The law does not allow for us to do this without providing notice to the parties who are subject to this investigation, and that would be you and Mr. Sheets. Mr. Sheets, is that Mr. Sheets there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Sir, could you please state your name for the court's record? Looks like he doesn't have audio. Are y'all together?
We're at the tattoo shop.
Okay, but are you together?
We're both at the tattoo shop right now. He picked me up so I could also Zoom.
All right. What I'm asking is, are you next to each other? Are you in the same proximity?
That's correct.
Okay, let's just do one device here for video and audio. He doesn't have any audio on his phone right now, but I can see him. You have audio, but I can't see you. So if you keep your phone audio on and just get in his camera, then we should be fine.
Everyone mind his own voice.
Okay, I can see, there, now I can see both of you. Just make sure you both stay in the screen, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
I see mostly Mr. Sheets, but I would like to see Miss Sheets as well.
Where you can see it.
No, this is.
Okay. Can you both hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. I was, before you came on, Mr. Sheets, I was explaining to Miss Sheets that the Texas Department of Family Protective Services, CPS, has reason to believe that there's an investigation necessary into your children, and to make sure that they're safe and healthy, and they've attempted to do so, and they have been unable to ascertain the status of the children or perform an investigation, to the extent that they have asked this court to order that there be no interference with that investigation. The law requires that hearings on such requests not be ex parte, which means that you have to be a part of this hearing. I can't order this unless you either agree to it or I allow you to state whatever it is you believe that is in opposition to what the department wants, and then I'll make a decision. So
Yes, sir.
you both are here. So you've made an appearance. This is not an ex parte hearing. I'm recording this as well. Mr. or excuse me, Miss Rush, are there any specific questions that you want to ask Mr. Barella?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Barella's been sworn. While we're sitting here, Mr. Sheeds, I've already sworn Miss Sheeds. Could you raise your right hand for me, sir?
Yes, sir.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And can you state your name for me just for the record?
Robert Eugene Sheeds, Jr.
Thank you. Okay. Now everybody's been sworn. Miss Rush, if you want to proceed with the questioning of Mr. Barella, you may proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Barella, you've testified that a intake was made regarding possible manufacturing of in or around the home of the Sheeds, as well as an allegation of lack of water. Is that correct?
Lack of running water. Yes, that's correct.
Was there also an allegation of no electricity?
Yes, that's correct.
When you went to the home, could you tell the court, did you actually get into any of the believed residences?
No, I did not.
Okay, why not?
There's about a 10-foot corrugated steel fence around the entire property.
Okay. Then how did you see Mr. Sheeds, Miss Sheeds, and the children?
They met me out front outside of the gate. The gate's about the size of a door.
Okay. At that point, did you ask to see the children?
Yes.
And did you see literally set eyes on all of the children?
Yes.
And your affidavit describes at least two of them. Did they all appear to be in such a condition that indicated to you there probably is no water in the home?
Yes.
Did you explain to both Mr. and Mrs. Sheeds why you wanted to come into the home?
Yes.
Do you have any idea how many different buildings there are in that, I'm going to call it a compound for lack of a better word?
No, I do not.
Okay. Do you have any idea which one they were actually living in?
No, I do not.
Did you explain why you needed to go in and see the home?
Yes.
What was Mr. Sheeds' response?
No. He denied me the opportunity.
Did he say you were going to need a court order or something like that?
Yes.
Okay. Could you describe Mr. Sheeds?
Very fidgety, jumping around, walking in and out of the gate a lot.
How long have you been with CPI?
4 years this month.
Okay. Prior to CPI, what was your employment?
I was employed with the military.
In what capacity?
Military intelligence for 10 years.
You, in your affidavit, said it was already 90 degrees, but everybody was wearing long sleeves and pants. Was that a concern to you?
It was more of a red flag than a concern. Just why would you be wearing that if it's so hot outside?
May I continue, Your Honor?
You may. Miss Sheeds, Mr. Sheeds, please don't talk while I'm hearing testimony, okay? Go ahead.
Thank you. Did you at any point get to talk to any of the children?
No.
Okay. And you did run the CPS history for this family and found, let us say, one case with extensive intakes as well as a few other cases. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you also run a criminal history on these people?
Yes.
Did you discover that Ms. Sheeds does have allegations of assaults in her past?
Yes.
Was there any concern in the intake regarding domestic violence between the household?
In the most recent intake?
The most recent.
They said there was a possibility, yes.
But there have been some in the past.
Yes.
Did you also run Mr. Sheeds' criminal history?
Yes.
In that capacity, did you find Mr. Sheeds has convictions for possession of a controlled substance and I believe manufacturing delivery? Is that correct? Of a controlled substance, PG1?
Yes.
When you what time were you at the home? Morning, afternoon, night?
Late morning, almost around lunchtime, if I remember correctly.
You've requested the following. You've requested the right to enter the home. Is it based again on your affidavit, were the allegations that they're living in a shed because their house burned down?
Yes.
Are you aware of how many rooms that shed may or may not have?
No.
Okay. Are you asking the court to order Mr. and Mrs. Sheets to allow you to enter whatever is their living place, to take photographs and to see the conditions of the home regarding the safety of the children and whether or not there's any possibility of being used or manufactured in that facility?
Yes.
Do you believe that's necessary to protect the children against abuse or neglect and to allow you to make the decision whether abuse or neglect has occurred?
Yes.
You're also asking the children be interviewed at a child advocacy center. I believe that would be in Kerrville because they don't have one near in Bandera. Is that right?
Yes.
If it turns out there's one closer, would you take them to whichever the closest one is?
Yes.
And for the record, you are not in Bandera County either, are you?
No.
Okay. Why do you want the children taken to a child advocacy center for interview?
A more conducive environment, more relaxing, no pressure environment.
Do you believe that you're more likely to get honest answers from the children if their parents are not around when they are interviewed?
Yes.
Are you also asking the court to allow a CAC interview, to allow someone who is trained in not asking leading questions and asking correct follow-up questions to question these children regarding any allegations of abuse or neglect?
Yes.
Now, technically, we did ask for Noah in that, but would you agree with me? A child under the age of 3 probably isn't going to tell you much.
Yes, I agree with that.
So are you asking the court not to require Noah to be taken to the CAC?
Yes.
And because the CAC may possibly be as far away as an hour and a half from Bandera County, are you asking the court to allow CPI to transport the children to and from the interview?
Yes.
Regarding your request for medical, psychological, or psychiatric records, are you asking the court to allow you to see if there's, well, I'm sorry, I should have asked you. When you saw the children, was there anything other than the amount of dirt and grime on them that led you to believe there may or may not be a medical condition?
Some of the children were very skinny.
Okay. Are you asking the court to allow you to get any medical, psychological, or psychiatric records which may exist, which would include MHMR, to see if there's a reason for these children to be this small or if it's inorganic?
Yes.
And are you asking the court to order that pictures be taken of the children as well as the surroundings?
Yes.
Regarding the pictures, did you ask to take pictures of the compound?
Yes.
Did you ask to take pictures of the children?
Yes.
And what was the response of Mr. and Mrs. Sheets?
No, I would deny the opportunity.
And are you, do you believe all of this is necessary for you to carry out the requirements as set out in the family code for an investigation for the possible abuse or neglect of the children to make sure that the children are safe and not neglected?
Yes.
Do you believe that these actions, if ordered by the court, would be the minimum required?
Yes.
Is there anything I haven't asked you that you believe Judge Falkenberg needs to know before I pass the witness?
No.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Sheets and Miss Sheets, I'm assuming that you're aligned with each other because you're there together. You both have the opportunity to ask any questions of Mr. Barella, since you're not represented by counsel, regarding this investigation. What I want to make sure you understand, we are in open court. I am recording this. There can be a record of this. So it's not necessarily a hearing about whether or not your children should be removed or custody should be changed. This is a hearing about whether or not you believe that the things that Mr. Barella is saying are true and correct, or if you have some other opinion. I'll allow you a little bit of latitude to ask some questions, but if you don't have an attorney, I'm going to hold you to the same standard that I would hold someone who is an attorney. Okay. I'm not going to give you a free pass because you're not an attorney. This is a court of law. So I'll expect you to know how to represent yourself in this situation. So I don't know, Mr. Sheeds, if you want to ask a couple questions, or Miss Sheeds, but I'll give you the opportunity to do so now.
Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to.
Okay, you may proceed.
For Mr. Barella, you said that on the day you came that we were all wearing long sleeve shirts. Do you remember what color the shirt was that I had on?
No, not necessarily. I just know it was a long sleeve. I believe it was a zip up because when you walked out, you zipped it up. I remember that.
What did it look as if we were working on that day?
I couldn't tell.
You didn't notice the fact that I didn't have a shirt on at
You
all?
did have a shirt on.
I did not. I was working and had my shirt off.
All right, Mr. Sheeds, you can ask questions, but you can't get argumentative. Okay, just ask questions. That's it.
Yes, Your Honor.
And if they were all wearing pants and a long sleeve shirt, how do you notice if they were dirty? Or that if they
All
had
right, one at a time. One at a time.
While you were there, did Mr. Sheeds tell you that they didn't live at the premises?
No, you said that you had another address that y'all could live at, which was your shop in another city.
And I said could.
Could.
I don't really know how to deal with it. I also told you that we lived out of state, that me and the children lived out of state. Any recollection of that?
No.
Then you have no recollection that we said that I'm here working, that I'm here. I brought the children to visit with Patricia, and that I'm here working.
No.
Were you recording it all? Because that'd be extremely helpful. Any
No,
pictures?
no, I was not.
You testified that you asked to take pictures and we said no. I have no recollection of that. Do you know where we were when that happened?
We were all outside the gate in the front.
Correct. Did Patricia's family came? Did you meet Patricia's mother while you were there?
Yes, I believe so. Yep.
Were you aware that she's called CPS with allegations before?
Objection, Your Honor. Any person reporting allegations of abuse or neglect are confidential, and I'm instructing Mr. Barella not to answer that question.
our history
Same.
or record?
We need to keep the questions about the specific issue at hand, which is whether or not this court should order an investigation order that allows Mr. Barella they've requested to enter the property, to interview the children, to receive medical records, to transport the children to a CAC interview with the Child's Advocacy Center, and to take photos of the home and the surrounding compound. Any other questions you have related to those specific issues?
Oh, yes, Your Honor.
Let's make it brief because I'm out of time on this hearing.
Sleeves and pants.
Well-
How do they notice it?
So you said that the children looked as if they were malnourished. Could you give an example how you noticed that with their clothes being on long sleeves and all?
Objection. That's not what he said. He said they were very skinny. So misstating the evidence.
They were wearing
Same.
shirt and pants.
I correct that to show that they were very skinny.
So just Mr. and Mrs. Sheeds were wearing pants and long sleeves. Most of the children were barefoot with no clothes on. Braxton was the one that was wearing shorts and a shirt with no shoes.
I must have misunderstood. I thought you testified that everyone was wearing long sleeves, even though it's hot.
All right. Okay.
Can I ask one more question, Your Honor, please?
One last question. That's it.
Thank you, Your Honor. Were you aware that the Sheets family has done a CPS case that they dealt with just months ago that they completed?
All the completely.
Yes, I saw something about that in history, that y'all were working a previous CPS case.
Do you know how it was going? Do you know how it was when it was completed? What the results were?
I can look it up. Give me just a second.
Well, it's Mr. Borelli, you don't need to do that because it's not really relevant to the issue at hand.
Okay.
The issue at hand is that, and just from this hearing alone, it's very evident to the court that there are fact issues in contention. So, court is going to grant the order as requested by Department of Family Protective Services.
They'll do the
All
interview,
right,
but that's
ma'am, I'm gonna have to mute you because I'm giving an order. I'm closed with the evidence. Court is gonna grant the order. That order is specifically, court finds there's good cause to allow the Department of Family Protective Services to investigate by entering the home and the premises surrounding the home, to take photos of the home and the premises, to interview the children, with the exception of Noah at the Child Advocacy Center in Kerrville, unless you find one closer. I don't think you will. Noah is not required for the Child Advocacy Center interview, and the CPI is ordered to transport the children to and from the interview. I'm going to order that the request for medical and psychological records be granted. And court believes, or finds, excuse me, that these orders are reasonable and necessary to allow the Department of Family Protective Services, specifically Child Protective Services, to appropriately investigate this matter. The court finds that the good cause that exists in this case is that Mr. Borella has testified to the condition of the children, the appearance that the children were unclean and potentially, as Mr. Borella testified, skinny. I believe the mother stated she used the word malnourished. The court finds that there's good cause to enter these orders due to the behavior of the parents at the time. Mr. Borella testified that Mr. Sheeds was fidgety, and the affidavit that I read did state that his behavior was a little erratic at the time. The parents refused to allow the children to be interviewed or photographed, and that Mr. Borella suspected that the parents were living in a shed with the children with no water because their home burned down, and that there's a potential that they are manufacturing and or using things on the property. Those are the orders of the court. Child Protective Services through the department is ordered to prepare the order and send it to me for signature. Ms. Rush, is there anything I failed to address?
No, sir, but this is my first time before the court. Does the court want us to send it through e-file?
No, send it directly to my coordinator, Ms. Greenlee.
I'm sure Ms. Ortiz knows how to do that. I just wanted to be sure.
She does.
Thank you so much, Judge Falkenberg.
All right, you're welcome. Okay, that'll be the order of the court. Thank you all for your time and your service. With nothing further, all parties are excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The first thing I thought of is, I wonder if this is a ruse to be able to get onto the property and look for a bunch of cooking utensils or a giant kitchen. Anyway, I'm certain they want to check on the welfare of the children. My question is, are they homeschooled or are they going to school? How's that working there? Do they actually live on the property or do they live somewhere else? I don't know. They kind of talked about not living there and living somewhere else, and they're working on this property. But it would be a good thing to be able to get on and find out, are they living there? Is there kitchen? Is there a kitchen? Is there running water? And are these kids being taken care of? But now they have a heads up. The parents have a heads up if they do have a giant kitchen facility, they're probably going to disband that and move it if they can. And I think the police will probably go with them to serve this order and to help breach that gate in case they don't let them in. But I'll keep an eye out. I'll look and see what happens with this. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.